Hello students, today our topic is chapter 5 mole concept and stoichiometry, and today our topic is Gay-Lussac's law. Today we shall deal with gases. Only when we want to deal with gases, then gases, any gas, say if we take a gas in this container. Here gas is taken and we want to define this gas. We want to define this gas. So to define any gas, we have to give 4 parameters. One is the quantity of the gas, that is given by N, that is the actual quantity here is given by mole number. You will know later about mole number. This is the quantity of gas. Then we have to specify the temperature of the gas. Then we have to specify pressure, that is under which the gas is taken, that is the atmospheric pressure, and the volume of the gas. As here the volume of gas depends on pressure and temperature and the quantity of gas. So these 4 variables are necessary to define a particular amount of gas. Now relation may be established between these variables. To establish relation between any 2 variables, other 2 variables should be constant. First is Boyle's law. Boyle's law gives the relation between pressure and volume. So where temperature and the quantity of the gas, that these other 2 variables, these have to be constant. So at constant temperature for a definite quantity of gas, volume will be inversely proportional to pressure of that gas, or pressure of the gas is inversely proportional to the volume. That is, if we take pressure as P and volume as V, then P is inversely proportional to V. That means volume, if we increase pressure on gas, then volume will decrease, or if we decrease pressure, then volume will increase. Say here from the upper part, if we increase pressure, then volume will decrease. If we decrease the pressure, then volume will increase. That means gas expands. This is the Boyle's law. So to give Boyle's law, or to give Boyle's law, always the constant temperature and the amount of gas that is to be constant. Then from this equation we can write P is equal to K by V, where K is the proportionality constant. That means PV is equal to K, that is PV is equal to constant. So we can write P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2 is equal to P3 V3 and so on. That means if pressure of a certain quantity of gas is say P1, then its volume will be V1. Now if we change the pressure from P1 to P2, then volume will also change, and this will change from V1 to V2. Similarly, if we change P2 from P3, P3 is changed from P2, then volume will also change from V2 to V3. So the relation is given by P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2, that is product of pressure and volume is always constant. Now from this equation, that is P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2, there are 4 variables. One is P1, V1, P2 and V2. Now if we know 3 variables, then the remaining variable can be obtained. That is, if we know the volume of the this value is known, value of P1. Similarly, value of V1 is known. If we know the value of V2, then you can easily determine the value of P2 from this equation. Now Charles' law. What is Charles' law? Charles' law gives the relation between volume of gas with temperature. Here we have to take constant values of pressure and the quantity of gas, that is the N. That is, at constant pressure for a definite amount of gas, volume is directly proportional to its temperature, and this temperature is in Kelvin scale, or this is called absolute temperature. This temperature not in the degree Celsius scale, this temperature is absolute temperature. So, at constant pressure for a definite quantity of gas, volume is directly proportional to its absolute temperature. This is the Charles law. That is, if we increase temperature, volume will increase. If we decrease absolute temperature, volume will decrease. Now, if we want to deduce the relation between the volume and temperature in degree centigrade, generally we use temperature in degree centigrade scale, then what will be the relation? Volume and temperature in degree centigrade scale. Scientist Charles observed that if temperature of a given quantity of gas at constant pressure is raised from 0 degree to 1 degree, that is raised by 1 degree centigrade, then volume will rise by 1 by 273 of its volume. Volume will rise by this factor 1 by 273. That is, if say at 0 degree centigrade, volume of a definite quantity of gas is V0. Now, if we raise the temperature to 1 degree, the volume will rise by this factor 1 by 273 of its volume. V0 is original volume, so the rise will be V0 by 273. So, at 1 degree the volume will be V0 plus V0 by 273. This amount of volume rises, so this is to be added with the original volume. So, this is the volume at 1 degree centigrade. Now, if we decrease the volume from 0 degree to minus 1 degree, here is the decrement of temperature by 1 degree, then volume will also decrease and the decrement will be V0 minus V0 by 273. That is, the decrement will be also in the factor 1 by 273 of its volume. So, for increment we have to add and for decrement we have to subtract. So, the new volume at 1 degree is V0 plus V0 by 273. Now, we take V0 common. So, V0 into 1 plus 2 by T by 273. So, V0 by 273, that is into 273 plus T. Now, this 273 plus T, this factor is replaced by another temperature by T. This T is this is the Kelvin temperature. So, this 273 plus T is replaced by the capital T, this is the Kelvin temperature. So, V0 by 273 into T. Now, V0 by 273, that is constant, as V0 0 degree centigrade the volume of gas is constant. So, from here we can write V1 is equal to V0 by 273, this is constant. So, V1 proportional to T. So, we can write V proportional to T, which is actually the Charles law. So, this is the relation between volume and the absolute temperature of gas. So, from this relation we can write V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. That is, at a particular temperature, if V1 volume is known, then at another temperature, say T2, volume of the gas can be determined. So, here are the 4 variables, and out of these 4 variables any 3 are known, then the rest can be determined from Charles law. Now, gas equation, combining this Boyle's law and Charles law. From Boyle's law, this is obtained pressure inversely proportional to 1 by V, that is pressure inversely proportional to volume, and volume is, from Charles law, volume is directly proportional to absolute temperature. that is volume inversely proportional to 1 P and V proportional to T. Combining these two, we can write volume proportional to temperature by pressure. That is, if we give proportionality constant, then PV by T is equal to K. This K is the proportionality constant. Now for any given quantity of gas, as here pressure, volume, temperature, these three are variables, then we have to take the quantity of gas, that is N, as constant. So this constant can be replaced by N into R, where N is constant quantity of gas and R is the universal gas constant. You will know later about R. So R is also a constant. This is called universal gas constant. So the equation can be written as PV is equal to nRT. As here PV by, this is the gas equation, as here PV by T is constant. So we can write P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2 and so on. That means at temperature T1, if volume of a given quantity of gas is V1 and pressure is P1, then if we change the temperature from T1 to T2, then volume will also change from V1 to V2 and pressure will change from P1 to P2. So here variables are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 variables. If 5 variables are known, say, then we can determine the rest variable. Now, standard temperature and standard pressure, that is called STP, standard temperature and pressure. As we know, to define a gas, the volume of a gas depends on pressure and temperature. So to define volume of a gas, we have to always specify pressure and temperature. For this reason, reference pressure and temperature is always taken. This is called standard temperature and standard pressure. The standard temperature is 0 degree centigrade and the standard pressure is 1 atmospheric pressure. You know, this is 76 centimeter mercury pressure. So this is the standard temperature and pressure. To give any reactions that deals with gaseous reactants and product, then we have to take the temperature and pressure as standard state. Now temperature scales. There are different temperature scale. We commonly use the degree Celsius scale that starts from 0 degree centigrade and goes. And there is another scale, that is the Fahrenheit scale. It also starts from 0 Fahrenheit, and there is relation between degree Celsius and Fahrenheit. 1 degree Celsius is equal to Fahrenheit minus 32 by 1.8. So if we know the temperature in Fahrenheit scale, that is the value of F, then we can determine the value of degree Celsius. Now another temperature scale, that is the Kelvin scale. This Kelvin scale also starts from 0 Kelvin. This scale also starts from 0 Kelvin, and there is relation between degree Celsius and Kelvin scale, and this Kelvin temperature is given by capital T. This temperature is also called absolute temperature. So this scale is also called absolute temperature scale or Kelvin temperature scale. So this scale is Kelvin temperature scale or absolute temperature scale. Now here the relation is T Kelvin is equal to T degree centigrade plus 273. That is, with the degree Celsius temperature, if we add 273, then we will get the Kelvin temperature. So when T is equal to 0, that is at 0 Kelvin, the temperature of in degree Celsius is T is equal to minus 273. We put here 0, then T is equal to minus 273 degree. So 0 Kelvin will be obtained when we put the temperature in degree Celsius scale, that is minus 273 degree Celsius, and this temperature is called absolute zero temperature. So T is equal to 0, that is the absolute zero temperature. Why this is called absolute zero? Because at that temperature the volume of all gases are taken as 0. This is practically impossible to reach this temperature, as this is very low temperature. But if we can reach this temperature, then you will observe at that temperature volume of any gas is 0. So this is called absolute zero temperature. We know volume is directly proportional to temperature from Boyle's law. So you put V along y-axis, T along x-axis, then you will get a straight line inclined to the x-axis, that is temperature axis. And if we extrapolate this curve or line, then this line passes through this 0 0, that is volume 0, temperature 0. That means from this graph, when T is equal to 0, then V is equal to 0. That means the volume of gas will be 0 at a temperature 0 Kelvin. So this is called absolute zero temperature. Now Gay-Lussac's law of combination, combining volume. Scientist Gay-Lussac first observed that when reactants react with each other and reactants are in gaseous form, they always combine in simple ratio, and if the product is also gas, then there will be formation of simple ratio. That means if the reactants are gas, say here hydrogen is gas, oxygen gas, they reacts in simple ratio. Here from the balanced equation we get hydrogen reacts with oxygen to form steam, that is water vapor gaseous state. 2 volume hydrogen reacts with 1 volume oxygen to form 2 volume water from balanced equation. So the volume of their volume remains in simple ratio. Volume of hydrogen 2, oxygen 1 and water 2. 2 is to 1 is to 2. This is a simple ratio. So when gaseous reactants react with each other, they combine in simple ratio by volume, and also the product formed is gas, then there will be formation, or then there will be the simple ratio in the volume of the reactants and product. That is, the volume of the reactants and product in a reaction will be always in simple ratio. This is the Gay-Lussac's law. Similarly, another reaction, nitrogen reacts with hydrogen to form ammonia. Here volume of nitrogen is 1, volume of hydrogen 3 and volume of ammonia is 2. Simple ratio 1 is to 3 is to T. This is also simple ratio. Similarly, carbon monoxide gas reacts with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. Here volume of carbon monoxide 2, oxygen 1 and carbon dioxide 2. So the simple ratio, this is also 2 is to 1 is to 2 simple ratio. Now what is stoichiometry? Stoichiometry means the quantity of the reactants or the product participate in a chemical reaction. Quantity. If the reactants and products are gas, then the quantity is given by volume. If they are solid or liquid, then the quantity is given by mass. Say here carbon reacts with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. Here from the balanced equation, one quantity of carbon reacts with one quantity of oxygen to form one quantity of carbon dioxide. So the stoichiometry of carbon is 1, stoichiometry of oxygen is 1 and carbon dioxide is also 1. Here carbon is solid, so its quantity is given by mass. Oxygen gas, its quantity and this is the carbon dioxide gas. So for the gases the quantity are given by volume, and for solid or liquid quantity is given by mass. Similarly, when methane is burned in oxygen, then carbon dioxide water is formed. Here quantity of stoichiometry of methane is 1, that of oxygen 2, that of carbon dioxide 1, and that of water is 2. So this is the quantity. This is the stoichiometry, that is the quantity of reactants and product in a chemical reaction. Now there are different problems based on the Gay-Lussac's law. This is the problem of example 6 from your book. 200 cc of ethylene is burned in just sufficient air containing 20% oxygen to form carbon dioxide and steam. Measurements are made at constant pressure and 100 degree. Find the composition of the resulting mixture. That is, here the reaction is ethylene is burned in sufficient air. So we write the reaction, that is the ethylene, this is the formula of ethylene, in sufficient air, that means oxygen reacts with oxygen, this is the burning of ethylene, and it produces carbon dioxide and water. So this is the balanced equation, and from this balanced equation it can be observed that here ethylene is the gas, oxygen is also gas, carbon dioxide is gas, and water is as in water vapor form, that is gaseous form, as the temperature is here 100 degree. So 1 volume reacts, ethylene reacts with 3 volume oxygen to produce 2 volume carbon dioxide and 2 volume steam. So 1 volume ethylene reacts with 3 volume oxygen. Now here in the problem it is given 200 cc ethylene is burned. So 200 cc ethylene reacts with 200 into 3, that means 600 cc oxygen. So 600 cc oxygen reacts. We have to determine the composition of the resulting mixture. Resulting mixture means the mixture obtained after that chemical reaction. So here after the reaction we will get the products, that is carbon dioxide and the steam. As the reactants react, if there will be any reactant in excess, then we will also get that reactant. So here 600 cc oxygen reacts with 200 cc ethylene. Now it is given that 20% air is here containing 20% oxygen. So 100 cc air contains 20 cc oxygen. So 600 cc oxygen will be contained in 3000 cc air, 20 cc oxygen present in 100 cc. So 600 cc will be present in 300 cc. So the air left 300 minus 600 after reaction of 600 cc oxygen. So air left 2400 cc air is left. Now from 1 volume of ethylene we get 2 volume carbon dioxide. So from 200 cc ethylene we get 400 cc carbon dioxide. From 1 volume ethylene we get 2 volume steam. So from 200 cc steam we get 400 cc steam. So after reaction the composition of the resulting mixture is the products, that is 400 cc carbon dioxide, 400 cc water, and the remaining 2400 cc air. So this is the composition. Now example 4 of your book, that is 80 cc of methane is mixed with 200 cc of pure oxygen at room temperature and pressure. The mixture is then ignited. When it burns, calculate the composition of the resulting mixture if it is cooled to room temperature. That is, here The reaction is the burning process of methane. Methane is gas. This is the formula of methane. It reacts with oxygen, that is burned in oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water. Any carbon containing compound when burned in oxygen, that produces carbon dioxide and water. So this is the balanced equation, and as the mixture is cool to room temperature, this is important, this is cool to room temperature, that means water is, we get water as liquid water, so this is not the further gas, so volume of liquid or solid can be neglected, so volume is equal to 0, that can be considered as 0. So here 1 volume of methane reacts with 2 volume of oxygen to produce 1 volume of carbon dioxide. We have to determine the composition of the resulting mixture. In the resulting mixture there will be the product, and also if any reactant remain in excess after reaction. So here carbon dioxide is formed. Here we get from 1 volume methane we get 1 volume carbon dioxide. So from 80 cc methane we get 80 cc carbon dioxide. Now 80 cc methane reacts with 1 volume of methane reacts with 2 volume oxygen. So 80 cc of methane reacts with 160 cc of oxygen, 80 into 2, and here in the problem that is given 200 cc of pure oxygen is taken, 200 cc of oxygen. Now 160 cc of oxygen is reacted, so the oxygen left is 200 minus 160, that is 40 cc oxygen left after reaction. So the composition of the final reaction mixture will be as 80 cc carbon dioxide, that is the product, plus 40 cc oxygen, that is left. This is the composition after reaction. Here methane reacts completely. So methane is taken in less amount, methane reacts completely. This is called the limiting reagent or limiting reactant. Among the reactants which is taken in less amount and which is totally reacted in a reaction, that is called limiting reagent. And the another reagent that remains in excess, here oxygen remains in excess. So methane is here limiting reagent, as methane here reacts completely. Okay, thank you.